Hey there everyone, Lord Frigid here with another episode of Aether Raid's Offense. This time we are back in Astra Season. I had a pretty good Astra Season. Offense was fine, though I did misread the AI on my second to last battle and ended up having to burn a single ladder for it. But then on the defensive end, I actually took 2 full losses in the first 2 days of the season, which was kind of surprising, honestly. That doesn't usually happen. I was actually very forcibly notified over the course of the past 2 Astra seasons that my defense team has, or perhaps had, a Brunia weakness, so I had to make a couple adjustments there, but after that I managed to squeak by with all victories, so all's well that ends well. Of course, you didn't come here to listen to me talk about my defensive experience, so let's go ahead and just get right into these battles. So here is map number 1. It's a rally trap setup where both Ophelia and Eliwood are carrying rally assists. This is, of course, so they can provide buff support and then get their threat ranges extended by receiving a refresh from Legendary Azura. Also note that the young Songstress Azura is carrying Wings of Mercy, which will allow her to warp to allies, notably Seliph, if you don't finish them off. I would say that one of the biggest weaknesses here is actually the rally trap itself. Ophelia and Eliwood both buff attack, so if they rally Legendary Azura, it will make it easier for her to deal at least 5 damage, causing her to attack instead of refreshing. With that said, I think that one of the best ways to get the AI moving is to stick a unit right here, in range of both Azuras. If it's someone that Legendary Azura can deal at least 5 damage to, like, I don't know, Altina, you will be able to take her out of the equation right off the bat. Of course, if you don't stop the rallying from Ophelia and Eliwood somehow, young Azura may still provide a refresh, but it's still a very safe way to get the enemies moving that doesn't even require any assistance from your other units. Alright, this map is definitely a job for my Alphonse raiding party, so I'm just going to go ahead and send them in here. My goal will be to go up the right-hand side with Alphonse and have Altina go up and test the bolt trap on the left-hand side. Of course, with only the minimum amount of people required in range of that test, because I want to get Vantage active on Altina, but I don't want the rest of my units to be dead. So let's go ahead and get this going here. I think I should just move Altina up a space and then prepare Naga to smite her in next turn. That ought to do it. Let's take a look here, see what the situation is. So Nils is going to reduce Ophelia's special charge. That's fine. Okay. I think actually what I need to do first is get Nils out of range of the bolt trap. I guess technically even Pulse Eye's already done its work, but I'd rather not have him dead if I can avoid it. And that was a 50 damage bolt trap. Hello. That Roderick is 1 HP and you don't have a healing tower. So he's just going to be dead, basically. Oh, that's the idea. Now, even if he moves 3 spaces out of young Azura's range, she can just catch up to him with Wings of Mercy. That's annoyingly clever. Huh. Very interesting. Of course, I think I can circumvent that, actually, by putting Altina in the space where that Bright Shrine is right now. That should be able to bait out both Azuras, meaning that he doesn't get the refresh, which I would absolutely love to avoid, because having a 3-remove Fire Sweeper with refresh power being able to warp to him is not my idea of a fun time. So let's go ahead and let's see here. Let's go ahead and get ready here, break the bookcase. And then Naga can actually warp to Altina, which will allow me to take down the catapult as well. And then I can get, after that, I will be able to get the Aether Amphore for free with Alphonse, and then just refresh and have him walk on out of there. And now Nils is actually in range, or of his Frost Breath is in range to apply the debuff to both Seliph and Eliwood, which suits me just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look here. I should be able to have Altina break this Bright Shrine in preparation to just move up a single space next turn. Fortunately, she is blocked off, she's not blocked off. Roderick is blocked off from reaching her by the structures, the Aether Fountain and the Tactics Room, and Seliph is just cleanly too far away. I am very much expecting Legendary Azura to straight up attack, just because she should be able to deal at least 5 damage to Altina. And then young Azura, well, we'll have to see what the rally situation looks like, but if nobody's going to be rallying, then a young Azura will attack Altina as well, depriving the team of all of its refreshing power, which I like the idea of very much. So I guess I'm just going to attack and see what it does. It doesn't really matter if this is real. He should be falling either way to a refreshed Alphonse, whether or not whether or not he got that first attack off. Unfortunately, he did, which allows me to take Seliph all the way down, not have to suffer that Ruptured Sky attack, which I'm pretty sure he would have been able to take no problem, but again, always nice to have him have the Seliph out of the picture instead of in it. The enemy Seliph, of course. If it's your Seliph, then you definitely want him alive. Not that I would see any reason for you to ever bring Seliph into an offensive Aether Raids battle. Although I guess you theoretically could pull it off. It's just I'd worry about the enemy swarm. Oh well, I digress. Let me get Altina over here, and then let me go ahead and activate this this duo skill to provide Alphonse with some extra defenses. I don't see Panic anywhere, so this shouldn't be a problem. And then I just need to figure out if I want to have Naga right there, and yeah, it should be fine. So, okay, Ophelia doesn't even rally, and Elwood probably doesn't either, just because they should be able to deal enough damage to Alphonse naturally, yes. And Alphonse, of course, takes them both down, which means that now the only one left is Roderick, which is perfect. He walks right on down here, so I should be able to take out this Aether Fountain, and then just be on my way. Map number 2 is an Infantry Pulse box setup using a fairly uncommon pick in Virion, which I found pretty interesting. Of course, the idea here is that if you trigger the AI, you're in for a fun time against 2 mages with fully charged specials. I think the biggest weakness of this map is how easy it is to bait out the enemies. You can break this coffin and stick a unit here, and they should be able to handle Virion and, at maximum, one of either Thrasyr or Brunia on the enemy phase. This will happen because if the first one of Thrasyr or Brunia moves a full 2 spaces, then the other will not be able to move 2 spaces in the same direction. As a result, if both choose to move down towards your unit, the second one to move will receive the refresh from Sylvia and be able to attack. Alternatively, you can place a unit here if your team is better equipped to deal with Henry and Thrasyr rather than Virion and one of Thrasyr or Brunia. Another weakness that I actually discovered during the battle itself is AI manipulation. If you can place the units that Brunia and Thrasyr deal the most damage to on opposite sides of the map, they will split up. This is especially useful if you can get Thrasyr to move downward and to the left, perhaps by baiting her with a blue dragon. Naga. She will be out of Sylvia's movement range. And then, if Brunia moves to the right, perhaps in the direction of a wandering Altina, she will not be able to match Henry's range even with a refresh, so she can be picked off more easily later. Alright, it is Dragon Wagon time! So let's see, I think I can actually initiate this on turn 1 if I move my units in such a way so that Sothis does not actually receive the speed tactic buff from Altina, because Virion will be reversing it, and I do want her to be adjacent to Idun, so I can get the armor march bonus for the next turn. So let's take a look here. I think I just break this coffin, and I have calculated it out so that I know that Sothis will survive both Virion and one of Thrasyr or Brunia, whichever one receives the refresh from Sylvia. So I'm going to go ahead and just break these 2 structures over here in preparation to go and get the Aether buildings. And let's just go ahead and end turn. Virion should come up first. Of course, he applies Panic through the Dignified Bow, but Sothis doesn't have any field buffs, so it doesn't even matter. Alright, quick 20, but Sothis is actually going to be able to heal most of that off due to Virion's garbage res. So let's see, yep, 18, so she effectively only took 2 damage. So, okay, Thrasyr moves down. So, oh, Brunia moved off to the right. Oh, Henry's gonna attack. Can you kill her? I didn't calculate this matchup, but 29. Does he have 58 defense? I would be very concerned if he actually had 58 defense, so she should be okay. And yeah, that's fine. A little weird. I didn't realize Brunia was going to move off to the right. I guess it does kind of make sense now that I think back on it. She's probably trying to go after Altina, whereas Thrasyr is probably trying to go after Nils, as far as who they would prefer to be fighting against. So it does. I guess it does make sense that they moved the way they did. I just wasn't really expecting it. So, fortunately, between Naga and Altina, I believe they should be able to take Henry down. Naga, of course, dealing the brunt of the damage. And then after that, I have to decide what I want to do, because obviously, Brunia can move before Sylvia if Sylvia doesn't attack anymore. And that means she gets Sylvia's refresh. Can Altina take down Sylvia? 25 defense. Versus Altina's attack is going to be, what is that? 50 plus 7 plus 6, 63, that's, what is that, 38? Yeah, 2/30 is going to take her down. So I can actually go ahead and provide a refresh to my Altina with Nils, and then just stick Altina right in range of Sylvia, and she should be able to take her down on the enemy phase. Now I just need to figure out what I'm going to do over on this end, and with Virion gone, actually, I don't have to worry about panic. Therseer, although Killing Intent's going to be active anyway, since Sothis is less than full HP, but it doesn't really matter, because the Sothis is just that fast, and actually, that's a one-shot even without Sirius. That's kind of nuts. I wasn't really expecting that. So that's cool, Winter Sothis putting in work. Especially nice, since she has her built-in heal. And exactly as I thought, 2/38 should be able to take Sylvia down without Twin Blades, which means that Altina should actually be able to deal with Brunia, who I believe moves over. Yes, exactly. And now that Twin Blades is up, she should, yeah. Wow, that's a little closer than I thought it would be even without Twin Blades. I didn't realize she'd be able to hit 225, so that strikes me as a lot. Especially with Therseer on the team to provide a defense boost. Huh. And of course, I forgot that Naga didn't need that lamppost broken because she has Wings of Mercy and could just warp right to Altina, so I didn't need to burn that refresh there, but it doesn't really matter. I'm wondering which way Doom is going. Okay, he's going off to the right, so I'm just going to go ahead and break the Aether Foray, and with Dragon Effectiveness, Altina will be able to take Duma down. Today's bonus battle is a Restore Trap Space Oppression setup, where Veronica will go around using Restore on any debuffs you may apply to the enemy, and one wrong move will get Lysithea and Therseer streaming down at you. Of course, one big weakness is that if you apply a lot of debuffs, the Refresher's actions will be going to Veronica instead of helping Lysithea and Therseer advance, which makes them more vulnerable to getting stranded in the open and picked off. Also recall that the AI becomes aggressive if you have a unit in a Restore Healer's range at the beginning of the enemy phase, even if the healer moves off to restore something. That means you can actually make the AI aggressive on turn 1 by leaving someone here. Then, you can either break this structure to leave the enemies with a single, narrow entry point to reach your units, or simply not break anything at all, allowing the ranged units to advance while Minion and Sylvia refresh, and Duma twiddles his thumbs. Either way, the map gives you an unusual amount of control over how the enemies are allowed to get to you, and that is what I would prefer to take advantage of here. Alright, I think my Alphonse raiding party has the best chance of success here. The idea is that I will bait out the enemy by leaving Idun in Veronica's range, and then hopefully I should be able to snipe Therseer, Lysithea, and Veronica over the walls as they approach. I'll leave all these structures intact, which should prevent Duma from approaching, so that's a big vulnerability of this map right there that I'm taking full advantage of, and also the fact that I have plenty of space down in my back line to hide my units, so that if I need to, I can retreat out of the enemy's range entirely. So Veronica was able to take off the only debuff I applied, which means that after she gets refreshed by Sylvia, she actually does come down to attack my Idun, and Lysithea should receive the refresh from Ninian. Okay, she moved to the space above Veronica. I had rather hoped that she'd moved to the space to the left of Veronica, which Alphonse could get to after a reposition from Altina, but that didn't happen. And I'm actually kind of stumped. So let me take a quick moment here to review my options, give it a good old think, and I will get back to you when I have a solution. Alright, I have determined that the best route forward for this map is actually not to have Alphonse snipe people over walls, but instead to loose Altina on the enemy. And the way I will set that up is to take full advantage of enemy Veronica's Savage Blow to get Altina into vantage range, and that will happen after the next attack. Now, recall that Lysithea is actually this map's hardy bearing user, so if I can get to Lysithea after taking down Veronica, then the rest of the enemies should be easy pickings. And of course, Lysithea will not be very hard to get to at all because she's just going to keep following Veronica around like a little lost puppy, or a little lost deer, or whatever the heck analogy you want to use there, I don't know. So, whoa, Duma moved. Huh. I actually wasn't expecting that. I kind of figured he just continued sitting around doing nothing since there wasn't any way for him to get to the enemies. I say the enemies when I really mean my units. So, I guess it doesn't really matter. In fact, it makes my job easier because now I won't have to get a second round of dragon effectiveness up on someone so they can take him down. Although, actually, Idun probably would just be able to straight up one-shot him. Oh well, doesn't really matter. I'm going to get Refresh on Altina so she can take down Lysithea. And it's actually very good that Lysithea was above Veronica this time, because if it had been Thesir, then I would have still needed to take down Lysithea instead as the Hardy Bearing user, which would have left Nils in range of Thesir. And since I mispositioned Alphonse so that he actually doesn't have the move range to reposition Nils to safety, yeah, that would have been real bad. As it is, though, Thesir, Ninian, and Duma should all be going down pretty easily to Altina's advantage here. And then, if history is any indication, Altina should be able to clean up Sylvia on the next phase. Now, of course, usually in this situation, I would prefer to actually stall out a little bit so I can take the Aether structures. It should actually be possible, maybe sending a unit up the left-hand side like Naga, since she can fly over the pool. But since this is my last battle of the season, and honestly, today is one of those days where I'm just really not too hung up on it. So let's just finish this off.
Consider it done. You have my trust. Yeah.
Alright, that is it. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Aether Raid's Offense. I know I had fun bringing the Dragon Wagon into Astra season. I know I mentioned a couple weeks back that for Spring Idun's bonus weeks, I would be borrowing Winter Sothis from Light Season. Now I'm kind of thinking that I might make this arrangement permanent, and the reason for that is twofold. One is stats. In Astra season, my Naga, who's actually fairly high investment, you'll know that if you've seen the Bramimon one-turn clear, she's actually able to take Chill Attack, Chill Speed, and Bright Shrine debuffs instead of Sothis. In Light season, Sothis didn't really have anyone to do that for her, and as a result, she was just kind of sad because Bright Shrines are freaking everywhere. Additionally, Naga provides a defense boost to Sothis, which takes her kinda 31 and bumps it up to a more respectable 36. So she definitely appreciates those stat bumps. The second part is the mythic matchups. Sothis can deal with Thesir a lot more easily than she can deal with Bramimond. Now, don't get me wrong, she does beat Bramimond just because the Sirius activation on her first counterattack heals enough for her to be able to survive. But it is not at all a pretty matchup since Bramimond gets that automatic follow-up on her. Whereas Thesir, she just straight up one-shots or outspeeds, and Thesir won't be able to double. So that's very, very, very nice. So I'm thinking I will probably leave Sothis in Astra. Now, you may be wondering, or you may not be, I don't know, maybe you care, maybe you don't, what's going to happen to regular Idun in Light Season if I make this arrangement permanent? Well, during my recent pull sessions, I came across a very interesting pity breaker that I think should be able to fill the role of Idun's right-hand dragon armor very nicely. So perhaps at the end of next Light Season, during the Aether Raid's Offense video, you will be able to see how that went. Whether or not that happens, thank you so very much for watching, and I will catch you next time.